Maybe with all these Outlanders arriving, the Council won't need to beg Joko to defend us.
What are you talking about? Our council's kept the city free all these years. Why would they betray us now? You've been listening to too much of Zalambur's nonsense. Any good he manages to do is just for public relations. We have to trust in Emon and our council.
Your family and friends lost your homes to the sandstorm, and she's yet to do anything for any of you.
Our situation can wait. There are others in greater need right now.
Another day, another interview. This is the second to last one I have for you guys. Or I say interview, not really. They're more like casual conversations, particularly considering I didn't have any formal questions prepared. I just wanted to shoot the shit with the devs and see what they would have to say. So here we have 2 devs on environment and art, and we also have 2 devs on sound. So in the pursuit of balance, before my limited 10-minute window, I did try to ask everyone a question around the table. I know some of you guys will be like desperately wanting to ignore the sound dudes or whatever is particularly in your interest, but I felt it'd be a bit weird letting them sit there saying absolutely nothing. Nonetheless, I geeked out a little bit here. This is quite a fun interview, and I hope you guys enjoy and maybe learn a little bit more of something about POF. One more to go after this. Okay, so hello everyone. We're here with another interview. I've got a collection of devs here. We're going to be talking about art and sound with regard to Path of Fire. I'm going to pass it around to everyone, and they're going to introduce themselves and explain a little bit of their expertise and sort of what they've been up to the past 2 years. So here we go.
Hello, I'm Drew Cady. I'm the audio director, and I've been working on some voice processing and some ambiences and doing Foley sounds for interesting textures and things like that. Toss it over into Gerry's hands, and so he can sound design.
Yeah, I'm Gerry Schra, sound designer on Path of Fire. Worked on mounts and creatures and specialization, sound effects, and all kinds of wonderful things.
I'm Tirza Bauer. I'm primarily an environment artist, but I was also, for this particular project, I was the associate art director. And so I worked on a lot of environments, and then I also helped just oversee things and make sure the cohesion was there.
And my name is Jorge Dochu, and I'm the franchise art director for Guild Wars. I'm kind of high level looking at everything in the franchise and sort of ensuring that things are not only beautiful and cohesive, but that we're kind of pushing the envelope and making sure that we're not repeating ourselves. So we have, obviously, Nightfall and Guild Wars 1 is an area of this game that we've explored before. And since this happens 250 years later, Path of Fire does, we kind of decided to say, hey, let's take a fresh look at how we build this area, and we could go ahead and take the things that we remember fondly from the previous game. I came up with an amazing term called nuggets of, or what was it? Chocolate chips. Chocolate chips of nostalgia. You know, things that here and there you're gonna run into the game that are kind of gonna scratch that itch of Nightfall. But this is definitely not a rehash or a remaster or anything like that.
Well, can I ask, does anyone here have first-hand experience with Nightfall? Does anyone? So, are you the only one? Mm-hmm. Oh, multiple people. Do you guys have first experience with when Nightfall was coming along? Okay, so we don't with sound. But so do you guys want to talk a little bit about, this is returning to a region, fundamentally the same engine, right, for a game, but many years on. Is there anything really interesting about, moving on from those Nightfall days?
I can say the engine is like a brand new beast. That was Guild Wars 1, and even since we launched in 2012, what people don't realize is that our engine, unlike others that might advertise this version 1, version 2, etc., ours is growing brick by brick. And every time that we want to get something new across, a new visual trick or a new emotion that we want to get out there, we see what tools do we need. And if we don't have it, we go ahead and ask for it and work closely with our programmers. So everything that we do technologically is sort of emotion driven. And so back to your question about what's different about this game vis-a-vis the last, is that we can just do so much more. It's like a brand new engine, but at the same time it's also a team that's so much more mature in their building, and the tool itself is so much more mature since the launch of GW 2 that it's almost like showing people what ArenaNet can truly do. It's some of the biggest maps we've ever done. At the same time, they're the most detailed. It's an area that you could think of as maybe monotonous. It's just a big old desert, but the truth is it's got the most variety that we've had in almost any game. I think of it probably we've got more variety in just the desert in terms of lighting, colors, soundscapes than other games have in their whole game.
You're damn right about that. It's one of my favorite video game deserts because you get so much variety. There are so many different, other people will just throw sand on a field and say, there you go, that's it, they will. But there's a lot of variety here. So do either of you have any specific memories of feeling restricted or something that you really wanted to bring out in this region of the world before, and now it's like we're in 2017, baby, and I can do good stuff?
I know that with the vastness of these maps, we got breathing room. The jungle was intentionally so claustrophobic and vertical and just in your face. But the desert, you get to just open it up and you get to breathe and you be on your mount and you get to travel great distances. And then with the toolkit of the mounts, you're able to get to practically everywhere. And so as an environment artist, I get to just build out these really, really unique environments that I know that players are going to be able to explore and see off the distance. They'll see this landmark and they'll know they'll be able to get there somehow.
I've got a great question for you, Taylor. You worked on the desert Borderlands in the previous expansion, and now you appear to have been working on deserts a lot more. What's that been like?
It's been a lot of desert.
Yeah?
Yeah, I basically went from the desert Borderlands straight into...
Was that because it's such a natural fit?
Not necessarily. I wanted to work on more PvE content, and it just happened to be also desert themed. So yeah, I've been working in a lot of desert environments, and a lot of what I learned from desert Borderlands I got to bring over and build all new environments for this.
And the important question everyone's going to be wondering, is there going to be another swinging boy or cat room?
Fun fact, I hide a swinging boy in every map I make, so there's going to be at least 3.
Was there a swinging boy in Fortune's Vale?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm getting the so let's talk about sound. So one of the things that really struck me while I was playing earlier is obviously mounts are a big part of this expansion, and I was immediately struck by the sound effects that had gone into those creatures. Could you guys want to talk about that a little bit? It felt like a real distinct, separate animal, different entity. Has that been fun, or is that pretty much par for the course with the kind of work you do? Because it feels so different to experience as a player. From a perspective of creating those sounds and producing that, is there any difference there really?
I would say definitely. I made an effort to try to make each mount very iconic. So, really have a personality that fits its movement style, its aesthetic. You've got one that might be more of the badass. You've got more that's, kind of more lighthearted with the Springer or whatever. So, and really, I think a lot of my time, once getting the palettes together, whether it was from human vocalizations or rubbing strange objects in the studio or whatever, I think a lot of my time I really spent a lot of time writing or just on the mounts in the world, and it's a lot of iteration. And I think I really wanted to say a lot more with fewer sounds in a lot of cases, to make it to where when they did speak and when they did do something for you, or react to what you wanted them to do, that it was very much, hey, their personality's coming through. Okay.
So earlier we talked a little bit about voice effects. By that, do you mean things like the timey voices that we get when she's over her communicator? Are we talking about applying some kind of filter over the char with the sloppy mouth noises? Has there been anything interesting in Path of Fire to do with that you're hoping will catch people's eye? You guys tend to be the unsung heroes of development, and ArenaNet takes obviously sound very seriously. You guys have got your own Foley room and so forth. So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. It's been kind of an evolution over years of doing voice processing and kind of creating this engine to procedurally kind of help voice processing pipeline. It was a similar engine. I kind of built it for Guild Wars 2, and then we've been kind of augmenting and just getting better at using the tool and kind of pushing and pulling on it, putting in different plugins, finding new plugins that come out that kind of allow me to do more special kind of looking at the harmonics of audio and breaking it down and kind of, working on like Balthazar's voice and making him a god. And how do we make that different? You know, it's just kind of working on tools to empower us to do something different and really refining it. And it's been really fun.
A little bit more specifically, I think one of my favourite sounding characters has been Mordremoth and the processing that went into Mordremoth's voice. Can we look forward to anything a little bit similar to that in the future?
Mordremoth was a fun one.
Mordremoth was amazing.
He shook the earth. We did mandibles for him. I mean, I don't know if not to sidetrack, but yeah, we took mandibles in the sectoids and the vine tooth, and then up into Mordremoth. So we kind of had this food chain, and he was the top dog. And so yeah, we kind of tried to tie everything together. Yeah, we're playing around with some fun stuff in Path of Fire. Let's see, what are we doing?
No, the Choya thing I thought was super interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
The Choya, yeah. Jerry, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, they were very kind of a non-traditional voice process.
Do you want to explain what they are to people?
Yeah, so they're these adorable little, they almost look like little cactus on legs.
And when you kill them, they look like watermelon, don't they?
Yeah, they do. You split them open, and yeah, they look like a delicious watermelon. And they shoot, spikes out at you. They make irreverent noises. They roll around and chase you, and they're kind of just a disagreeable, crew.
So how'd you make those sounds?
Well, a lot of the Choya sounds started out with just the vocalization was just like a noise with my cheek, like.
Oh, really?
And then taking that and putting it through like a guitar talk box, like Peter Frampton used back in the 70s, And their movement sounds, we actually used an inner tube on a Honda Civic tailpipe.
Wow.
And we revved the exhaust and got this chattery kind of sound for when they roll around and chase you and that type of thing. So
sounds cool. I've always thought you guys have a very interesting and cool job, certainly.
It's a lot of fun.
All right, well, unfortunately, guys, that's all we've got time for, but thanks very much for your time, everybody, and I'll see you all next time, everyone.
Yeah, thank you much.
Let's see if you have what it takes to be my sous chef, Outlander. You're going to help me make our house specialty, Tajine stew. I call for an ingredient, you throw it. Got it? That salmon should be marinated and ready. Fetch it here. Iboga petals aren't cheap. They'd better still be around here.